All right. Continue us on to item B, approve the agenda. The City Commission reserves the right to amend, supplement, or reorder the agenda during the meeting.
Folks, this is this past Tuesday, January 9th. And I want to show you what was a priority for our former Commissioner, Courtney Shipley, on a day that one of our homeless neighbors died.
I move to approve the agenda.
Mayor,
Yes.
this is Commissioner Sellers. Not to shock anybody, but I would like to make an amendment. I do believe it's a friendly amendment. It's more for informational purposes. I wanted to see if under our regular agenda item for item 2 to see if we could get an update just on overflow as it relates to our unhoused community. I know we have a lot of different moving parts with that, and with today's storm and with freezing temperatures coming in, you know, just would like for us to be able to have...
Guys, this is a commissioner concerned about the population, and she knows that we don't have until next week to wait for an update on this stuff. It needs to happen now.
And just wanted to see if we, just for a vote for consideration for us to add under regular agenda items, item number 2, overflow plan update for unhoused individuals.
Would it be sufficient if the
No, Bart.
commission item or city manager's report?
The fact that we wouldn't get this back until after the fact, so that would not be sufficient for me. Hence the reason why I'm asking to amend the agenda to add a second regular agenda item.
For tonight.
Yes.
And by this time, I'm standing in the room in front of them, shaking my head vigorously up and down. Yes. Yes. Add the item.
So for those who know parliamentary procedure, you can either not second it, kill it, or you can second it and go to a vote. But that I am presenting an amendment.
Right.
Sure.
I'm just making sure we have people to go ahead and speak to this. Craig, would we be all right?
Guys, it really doesn't matter whether Craig has people ready to speak to it. He needs to be prepared to speak to it. Even if he doesn't have all the people right there, right then, he needs to scurry his little butt around and get those people ready. That's their job responsibility, and that's Craig's responsibility.
Say aye.
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 Okay, it's 5-0. That has been added to the regular agenda as item number 2. That being said, with the new amended agenda, is there a motion out there to go ahead and approve it?
Mayor, this is Commissioner Sellers. I move to approve the agenda as amended.
So they're going to approve this and amend the agenda, but watch what this former commissioner says. On a day that somebody died on the street as a result of the weather that Amber Sellers is concerned about.
Yeah, I said aye.
Okay.
Yeah, gotcha.
5-0. All righty.
Hello, Commissioners. Courtney Shipley. I didn't mean to say anything about this, but I'm a little concerned about adding something to the agenda in the regular agenda item without sufficient public notice. I've never seen that happen before. Legal staff isn't here. I'm deeply concerned. Indeed, it was a city manager's item that does have public comment, I acknowledge, but that didn't give sufficient, in my view, time to the public to understand that they could come and comment on that item on the regular agenda. I don't expect an answer in this space.
No, Courtney, what happened was that your friends at the business community and all those people that want to just shove the homeless into a pit somewhere and make them disappear, they weren't prepared to come talk about this, were they? I am.
I put that coffee cup up there front and center for a reason. That coffee cup is up front and center tonight because I want to know where the fuck was burnt ash. I'm still drinking my coffee. I'm assuming all theirs was gone because they were in their office all day because there wasn't a damn one of them out on the street today. We had a death at one of the homeless camps today. And unfortunately, one of our homeless neighbors died today. There is no street outreach happening in this town. Let me say that again. There is no street outreach happening in this town, and I'm going to qualify that by saying, except those advocates that you guys have trespassed. You. Those are the people that were doing your street outreach today. Myself and the other advocates were out helping people cope with a situation that they shouldn't have to cope with. I'm going to try to get through this. I've got about 6 or 7 lines here I want to read to you. It's going to be very difficult for me. I don't know how to do this anymore. I don't know how to get better. My head is in a dark place, and it only gets worse day by day. And I have no idea how to stop the darkness from coming in. I have no idea how to save myself anymore. That was one of the last posts from the girl who died today.
First, I'd just like to recognize what just was said. Commissioners, I'm here to talk about the homeless and how we view them. Recently, the City of Lawrence Facebook account stated that the City of Lawrence is not a direct service agency, it just provides the funding. It does provide the permits, it stops the funding, it denies the permits, it controls the community building. Next week, the perfect winter storm I mentioned, the first time I spoke to you, is going to be here. There aren't even enough beds for 2/3 of last year's homeless, not even if the Pallet Village were open.
I double-checked before I came tonight, but last year I spent almost $400 on Parks and Rec. I spent a lot of time at the community building. We have wonderful programming, and I was really distraught to learn that it is not currently open for nights for emergency shelter with these temperatures coming up.
And I don't. That was a good question about the community building, so thank you.
In 1845, Hans Christian Andersen published a story known as The Little Match Girl. It's about a young girl who was out in the cold. She had no way to get out of it, no family, no friends, no nada. And she died out there. And that really needs to change, because I don't want a story from the 1800s to repeat itself.
I'm going to ask you, do you accede to that pressure that the business owners are putting on you to reduce these kind of services at the cost of more lives?
We cannot allow another incident, another death like what happened today to occur again, or what happened several years ago during the polar vortex to occur again. We have to do more for our community.
And trust me, I usually don't name the name unless the family is aware. The family is aware. And of course, I'm grieving right alongside them. But Samantha Boyles, she did not like to be called Samantha. She liked to be called Sam. She's lived unhoused in Lawrence for 3 years. She has had connections with Bert Nash. They failed her.
As mentioned before, Laura Kelly has declared a state of emergency for the current weather situation, which next week we will have sub 30 degrees Fahrenheit wind chill temperatures. This is not a survivable situation for those living outside, especially with snow on the ground.
And so to hear that one of those people has died from lack of care on our side, and by that I mean the community, it's really disappointing to me. And so I just want to ask you guys for everything you've heard to just really discern what everyone is telling you and to make a prudent decision, because lives are in people's hands, and unfortunately I can't make that decision to save them, but you can. Thank you.
Sherilyn Wells.
I feel very sad and in fact angry hearing that this young woman died. And you're not supposed to say it, but I feel very disappointed in our mental health center. If I were to choose in between having a winter shelter and having homeless outreach, I would vote for an emergency winter shelter, because whatever it is we're doing with homeless outreach doesn't seem to be working.
It's ridiculous to me that we still don't have a plan in place. This is new. This is something that keeps happening. So why are we so unprepared and complacent with this problem that persists? I find it deplorable that the community shelter or community center is not already open to unhoused individuals. And I think it's of paramount importance that we really analyze why we keep failing the homeless population in these ways.
When I heard that a woman died in the park so close to a building that used to be a place of shelter, my first thought was, is it one of my clients? Is it one of the hundreds of people who are homeless who I know? Or is it one of the hundreds I don't know? Because the number is 300 or 400, surpassing the capacity of the community shelter by 2 or 3-fold, despite how hard all the staff there work.
You have to forgive me if I am speaking uneasy. I did not know the name of the person who passed. And it turns out it was one of my childhood friends.
So I cannot imagine what it's like for someone with pretty much nowhere to turn and to try to find shelter provided by the city of Lawrence and finding closed doors because of either technicality or low funding and just pure apathy from the city, which is extremely disappointing.
It's cold out there. At this point, I don't think that it's a particularly well-kept secret that our current shelter options are overstressed and simply do not have the capacity to service everyone all at once.
I am also asking you to please immediately open the community building at 11th and Vermont as an emergency storm shelter.
But you are doing your homeless population a great foul. And in the long run, tomorrow, this will be in the news and it'll look horrible. There are solutions.
That they please consider opening the community center at 11th and Vermont as soon as possible.
Hi, this is Chris Flowers. I just have a few thoughts. I just want to start out saying I want to echo the sentiments about opening the community shelter or the community building as an emergency shelter. Because weren't you all like, you had that hotline set up where you were cracking down on unsanctioned camps. So if you mess them up, shouldn't they have like an emergency building to go to?
I think that we need to open up the community shelters tonight and just in general whenever there's freezing temperatures out. In fact, the city should have a standing policy that if the governor issues an emergency declaration regarding winter weather, or if it's forecast to drop below freezing, that automatically opens up those buildings for people.
Urge you all to do your best to open up a place for people to stay the night.
So, yeah, I just want to make sure that these people aren't abandoned.
Sam Boyles deserved better than this.
I can't hide.